Last year, about September, maybe August, I crashed my Extra. It was a very sad moment. First crash ever on this nice plane from Extreme Flight. Very well built airplane, but it breaks when it hits the ground hard enough. I was coming out of a low speed dive, close to the ground, hit the ground at about 45 degrees. The landing gear just sheared off completely. The fuselage kind of flattened right into the ground, and the damage was all here in the center section. This plate broke out. I had to make a new plate, landing gear plate for it. And it's keyed into this piece here. It's got 3 keys. On the other side, it's tongue and groove in there too, tongue and slot. So I had to make that fit and had to kind of break this apart a little more to get that new piece in there. And now it's time to add the other reinforcing strips for this gear. One of the problems I've got with this plane, the way it is broken, is it actually is not straight. This top part where the canopy goes should be straight, and it's not. You can see if I put it down all the way on this granite, which is completely flat, that I've got about almost at least a quarter-inch gap there. So I'm going to straighten that out with some weights. I'm going to put some weights here on the end to hold it down flat. So I'll hold it down like that, and then I'll have some more weight over here. Straighten it out as the glue dries after I assemble it. So to do that, I've got all these books for the nose section to go right by the firewall, and then I've got these 2 books to put on the tail, or on the rear section here. And I thought it was appropriate to put the last book down as Intro to Flight, which, if you haven't read this book by John Anderson Jr., it is a great book, and it's full of just technical information that it's a pretty easy read, and it's very informative. So I am going to attempt to glue this up. I've got all the pieces cut. I've got this front and back piece that goes here and aligns with those holes and these holes in the front, and it goes through that hole there and one on this side, so it runs just below this piece. So we've got 2 of those. And after that's installed, I will put these on top, and that'll also go, this tongue will go into the slot there. This will just butt up against the firewall, or against the this piece here, and I'll glue all that down and clamp it. So once I get that in place, these holes will be over each other, and to get them aligned front and back, side to side is no issue. It's a very snug fit. Front to back though, kind of a challenge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the drill bit that I used to drill those holes, and the next size smaller. I'm going to use those as alignment pins to temporarily line those holes up. Because if those holes are not aligned, I can't put the T-nuts in underneath, and then have the place to screw the bolts in for the gear. Got this little tack hammer. It's actually a family heirloom at this point. Had to put a handle on it, but I actually need this hammer to put this together. It's such a tight fit. That's one thing that comes from being a woodworker, is you've got the tools to make these pieces, and the tongue's just right, and they tend to turn out very nice. I almost don't even need glue for this, but of course I'm going to glue it. So I've got clamps, C-clamps. I've got these X-Acto clamps for these 4 small pieces. I've got a piece of wax paper to mix the epoxy on, and I've got a spare piece in case I don't mix enough. I can quickly mix some more. Tongue depressor to mix those up with. I've got a throwaway chip brush here for cleaning up any drips of epoxy. Got an X-Acto knife in case I need to grab that wood and shift it. And the glue I'm using is this really nice 60-minute epoxy. Normally it's 5 minutes. Sometimes you can find it a little bit longer than 5 minutes, maybe 10 or 15 minutes, maybe 20, but this is 60-minute professional extra time epoxy. It's actually designed for assembling chairs where you've got maybe 20 joints on a chair, maybe more. And so basically the time is very long, 60 minutes to get everything aligned. It's plenty of time, so I shouldn't have any problems with that. And I've got some rubbing alcohol to clean up any epoxy I want to dissolve. Paper towels for that also, any cleanup. Now, you're wondering, why am I doing this on granite in my kitchen? You know, this granite was it was thousands of dollars. And I'm protecting it underneath where I'm gluing. I've got wax paper taped down. And on the floor where it might drip, I've got it taped down. This is the only spot in the kitchen with this dimension just about perfect where I can actually flatten this fuselage to make it straight again. So this is where I've got to do it. And it just worked out really well. So let's give it a go, see what happens. Okay, I'm mixing up the epoxy. I can't really move the camera. I don't want to take the time to move it. So this is how much epoxy I'm mixing up. Hopefully it's enough. That is about a 1/4 inch high in the middle. So it's a good amount. And I think I'd rather have extra, throw it away if I have to. Probably will. This looks like it's going to be too much. That's okay. It's epoxy, they'll make more. I can replace it for $15, $16. I don't know if it's still available on the shelf, but I'm sure it could be ordered. It needs to be mixed very well together. Don't forget to mix it long enough. It's easy to think it's mixed and stop. I like to go about a minute more than after it looks consistent in color. It really doesn't hurt anything when you have 60 minutes of working time. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, I was going to use this brush for cleanup. I'm actually going to use it to apply epoxy to every slot that this plywood is going to go through. Don't need to put much, I just need to wet all the surfaces. Too much and it'll just squeeze out, won't do any good. And that brush works really well for that. I'm just putting a little dab, that's about a 1/4 inch circle, in each of these slots. I could use this video for reference too. Should I ever crash again, I can see how much damage there was and how it broke, and see if I need to either add more wood or less wood maybe is better. Have it break away easier. And I can see how the glue held. The glue bond should be stronger than the wood itself. Oops. So I hate crashing because I don't dislike building, it's just that I'd rather do other things. If I could crash my plane and it would bounce off the ground, I'd be very content. That is not the case, unfortunately. I'm going to put some glue here on the ends of these tongues because I did not do that before. I just had to pry these apart to slip that in, and I didn't glue it at the time, and I thought I might need to take it out, but I am not going to wrestle that back out. I can see where this interlocking, this type of construction, really helps add strength, because boy is that is strong in pretty much every dimension. Okay, I'm looking real good on epoxy. I've got quite a bit left. I have a lot of plywood area to cover on those strips. I have to cover the whole surface. And basically they're going to get glued together. Each one is an 1/8 inch thick. Let's put a little more in here too. 1/8 inch thick, and they get glued together. It'll be 1/16 of an inch. It'll actually be stronger than the 16th. 2 1/8 inch together will be a 1/4 inch, and that'll actually be stronger than, I think, a 1/4 inch piece of plywood. Just because there's a better chance that the plies are there are more plies in the right direction. Alright, so I'm putting the epoxy on the strips now. Don't need any on the side, but I got some on there by accident. Make sure you mark all of your pieces. I just got epoxy on my hands, so I'm going to want to clean that off so I don't touch, because everything I touch now is going to have epoxy on it. Okay, that one is done. Coated, so probably the best thing to do, I've got this marked right side, bottom. This is up is the bottom, the right side is this side because I've got a small R there. Nose is this way, so I'm going to slip that in there like that, and we'll get this one left side bottom. The left side long strip. I'm using that much glue on it. It's probably too much. Unfortunately, there's just no real easy way to do this neatly. End up wearing it. That's what paper towels and alcohol are for. But that's okay. And this is a throwaway chip brush. These things are practically free. I don't hesitate to throw them away. I'd probably spend more in solvent trying to wash them out. I'm sure it would. It would not be worth the time. So the holes are filled with epoxy. That's not good, but those drill bits will push it right out. Okay, so here's the left side, and I've got the glue side up, and it's going to go underneath that piece. Wash my hands real quick. This rubbing alcohol really takes the epoxy off my hands quickly. Oh, nice. I'm rushing. I shouldn't be rushing here. Okay, now I have to tap these into place because they are a tight fit. I'm building a bead of epoxy there. I think I will clean that epoxy up. So it's stripping the epoxy off this top edge, which is fine. I'll just move it over here to this other side, because I will be adding those other strips on here momentarily. Very happy to be getting this done. Basically, it sat in my basement and I looked at it kind of in dismay. Like I'd lost a family member, a dog or something, for months and months and months, like 6 months. And now the weather's turned nice and I need to get this thing in the air. So now I have to be a little bit careful to align this. Pretty tough to get it to slip on. There it goes.